All right, it looks like we are live. What's up, party people? Today, uh, Johnny Andrews joining you live from the office down here in Chicago. And today, what we're going to be talking about, I just did an interview with John Michael Morgan, which prompted me to want to have a little bit more of a discussion about this. And that is, why the heck are we using content? Obviously, there's tons of stuff happening right now in the world, and it's not business as usual. There's a lot of things that are shaking up. We're doing a webinar about how to, tomorrow night, where you're going to get some tactics and techniques and all those kinds of things to be able to really pivot, to adjust, to sort of enter that conversation inside of the people's minds right now in the world. And a big piece of that is what's called content marketing. And I know that's on the surface, that kind of sounds a little bit boring, maybe, but it's one of the most effective ways. Now, really quickly, this isn't your grandma's content marketing. This is not just like, hey, do video, do blog posts, that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about an actual strategy behind how these things work, how all of this stuff can work to be able to, number one, get you in front of more potential prospects. So whatever it is that you sell, kind of thing, you'll be able to use this to go to market. In fact, I'm using it right now to go to market with a brand new ecosystem. So this whole, scale your hustle, I'm like, hey, I kind of like the name of this. We're just going to go for it. And so had set all that stuff up before everything was happening. And now I'm a big fan of sort of practicing what I preach, I suppose you could say. And I am using what is called the tip of the spear method. And within about 3 days, I've already built an audience of just over 48,000 people. And I'm putting more stuff into that world today. And so on this particular live thing, I'm going to talk about how to do that. I'm going to talk about all those kinds of things. And then also, I'm letting you know that, obviously tomorrow, here, boom. If you want to join tomorrow evening where I go over more of this stuff and all sorts of shenanigans, go to scaleyourhustle.com/live. And that's going to give you kind of an idea of what's going on with that. So content marketing, kind of boring a little bit. It can be definitely seen as boring, but it's necessary, and here's why. If you sell anything for a living, this is a huge deal, is that a lot of times if you encounter resistance to it, the reason you're encountering that resistance is because they don't know that you can help them. And so what I'm going to show you here is a tactic that you can use. It's it's tactics and strategies that you're going to be able to use to, first of all, gain mind share. So you can become front of mind, even with all the crazy stuff going on right now. In fact, specifically because of the crazy stuff going on right now, this is actually a massive opportunity for you to gain this market share. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be going into even more detail about that. So if you want to, jump on, you can go to scaleyourhustle.com/live, and that's for the webinar that I'm going to be having. So what I want to talk about now is how you can use this content. First of all, hey, everybody, what's up? See, we have some folks joining. Really quick, if you want, make sure that you can hear and see me. So that would be awkward if you couldn't do neither of those things. And you can toss your messages into the chat. Just if you wouldn't mind, let me know. I know I'm using my wife's bejeweled, essentially Starbucks cup. Let me know if you can hear and see and that kind of stuff. Let's see what we've got here. Excellent. That one doesn't seem to want to move, but yeah, we're all good. Okay, cool. So what we're going to talk about, number one, is what is this content marketing and why you should be doing it. And then number two, I'm going to show you how to actually use this stuff to get in front of your prospects, especially with all of the crazy that's going on right now. I know it's nuts, but this is how you're going to be able to get in front of people, how you're going to be able to use this to grow your business significantly right now. Because I know things are kind of crazy and everything feels like it's pretty shaken up, but the truth of the matter is this is probably one of the best opportunities in history. And I know not just for when the stock market goes down, you buy, but this is the same thing, is that when businesses are shaken up, this is the time for you as a marketing person or a business owner to get out there and to really take what we like to call the Mindshare kind of thing. So really quickly, let me check and make sure that we're good to go here on the Twitter. That's becoming a hilarious platform, I think. Let's see what we got going on. Awesome. Hey, look at that. We're live. Super cool. All right. So back to the hotel at hand, as they say. I'm just checking to see if we are still good. Awesome, 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 awesome. Perfect, perfect. Cool. Okay. So first of all, why this whole thing about putting out content? The reason you put out content, this is super important to understand, is not because the world is just going to be made better because of more blog posts and more videos. That's just not how it works. The reason you put out content is because it is absolutely vital that you need to demonstrate what must be true in your prospect's mind in order for them to want to buy from you. That is the whole reason. It's almost a dog and pony show, if you will. So, for example, if you are an author for a living, you want to be putting out the written word so that people can see that. And if you're a nonfiction author, meaning someone who, you're using a book to promote your business, 100%, you absolutely want to be doing that in every kind of format you can in order to be able to get more of those speaking gigs, more of those course sales, or whatever it is that you want to do. And again, if you're a business owner, whoever you're selling to, you want to be putting stuff out there. For example, let's say, and let's use COVID-19 examples. And by the way, you can throw these things in the chat if you would like. And let's just use these as an example. So I have seen, because I have an agency that works with spas and salons. And that one, for me, was particularly impacted because you can't pay people to go into spas and salons right now. So a lot of these folks are, their doors are closed. They're really scared. I just got an email today from someone who who has an agency that works in the medical industry. And I'll talk a little bit about how that can be used to some pretty significant advantage. But for folks who are in those kinds of situations where where they have a business that is going to be really hands-on, I mean, let's call it what it is, you want to start looking at why is it that people use you. And the opportunity here is to be able to break away from the geographic limitations of having to make sure that your only source of income are people coming through your front door. That is difficult. That's absolutely difficult to rely on. I think this particular situation that we're all in really shows that, is that if you are in a situation where, people not coming through your door, the money stops, okay, it's time to think about what can an online, almost remote component look like. And so, for example, some of the people that are good friends who are all, we have a group of folks, my wife grew up with them, and they're all professional hairstylists. They cut, they do all that. They work at the really high-end salons and things, and they're like, well, we're not doing anything. Here's what you do. You can actually do tutorials, demos, products, all that kind of stuff. So you've probably seen this before on YouTube. There are a ton of YouTube influencers who do that kind of stuff for a living. Why not do it? For example, right now on TikTok, I know a lot of people are like, why would I do TikTok? It's because it's one of the fastest growing social media platforms of all time ever. And if you think it's just a bunch of weird dance videos and kids, no. It is rapidly becoming everybody. And this is a phenomenal opportunity because organic reach, which is like, hey, I'm going to put out some sort of content, whether it's video or post or whatever, and the belief that you're just going to get seen, nope, doesn't work like that anymore. It's all pay to play, except on TikTok and LinkedIn. YouTube is even rapidly becoming pay to play. I think it's mostly that way. If you look at search engine optimization in most industries, the first 10 results now are all ads. So organic search is pretty much gone. And so you don't want to be thinking about, oh, if I put something out in the world, people are going to see it. They don't, except on TikTok. So you have 15 to 60 seconds, and it's very important. I did an awesome interview today with John Michael Morgan about specifically why you want to learn to communicate in these little bitty micro bites. Let's call them what they are, essentially microbytes. The reason why is because that's where everyone's going. That's where communication is heading. And with what I was talking about earlier with this tip of the spear situation, that's what you want to do is how can you communicate in something to the tune of 15 to 60 seconds? Work on that, and then what happens is you pull people deeper into your ecosystem and all sorts of things. So that's what you could do is start documenting your process, talking about how you do what you do, and just running that in your local area to begin with. Just re-engage your customers. Talk about what's happening. Talk about your life. Talk about all of those things. And here's why. It works. It absolutely works. That stuff completely 100% will help you get in front of more of your customers, and you break away from the geographic limitations. So that is why you want to be using, at least in the beginning, that content marketing. Now, here's the beauty of this, and this is where we get into the strategies and the tactics. So number one is, who are you talking to? What are their biggest problems? How can you help them solve those problems? And so what I would recommend, make a list. Absolutely. Make a list. Pick a market, whatever it is that whoever you serve with your marketing, and make a list. And by the way, if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. I want to actually see how well that works. So I will look in here really quickly while we're doing this. So number one is you want to be able to make that list of all of the people who you want to get in front of. This is what are their problems? And then just put out some kind of content that talks about those problems. That's really all you do. Not in one big, long thing, but in these little bite-sized chunks. And just keep popping that stuff out. Keep popping that stuff out. Keep engaging with your people. And eventually, which I say eventually, but it really does not take that much time. It can be, a couple of days to a week, typically. And within that period of time, you're going to have created that connection, because the whole purpose of, one of the many, of putting this content out is if you've ever struggled to make a sale in any kind of, conceivably possible way, what that means is people don't know, like, and trust you. If it's hard for you to sell something, it's because nobody knows who you are. And that's something that you want to start keeping in mind, is the more you put out there and the more you put out using a strategy, the more likely it is that you're going to stay front of mind. So here's how this strategy works. It's called the tip of the spear. So if you remember, I just said, make sure you have what's the list of the pain points that your customer base has. Do a piece of content. Video is usually easiest. It's very fast to produce this stuff. You only need something like this, and you can absolutely get those things out. Start with that. Then what happens is when someone consumes this content, what most people don't know is you can go into your dashboard, you can say, okay, build me an audience of all of the people that have consumed this particular piece of content. Hey, so now what you do is you send even more stuff, but just to them. Because now let's think about this. If someone consumes one piece of something that you've done, maybe not. Right? Maybe they liked it, maybe they didn't. It doesn't, they're just kind of like, okay, I'm out there. It's like, boink, wow, a thing. But if then something else of yours shows up, wait a minute, now you're getting that, wait a minute, I remember seeing this before. And so what happens is here's the golden rule, I guess you could say. People buy from those they know, like, and trust. All right? And most people are like, well, I don't have a big audience. They're not going to like and trust me. It's like, okay, stop. You can build this. You can actually manufacture that outcome by using this tactic of putting good stuff that helps people out there and then sending more of it directly to them. Very few people are doing this. And that's why I'm saying, like, right now with everything going on, this is the perfect opportunity, because everybody is, like, at home and kind of bored. And they're all thinking about, oh my God, my business. Oh my word, what am I going to do? And that's true, they are. And so identify with that, because I think everybody is. It's like, oh, things are different. Well, talk about it. It's cool. Everyone's had to make changes. That's fine. Have that conversation. Totally do that. But then build an audience of the people that are consuming that content, because when they're consuming the content, now you're living in their head. So here's the beauty of this, is you can start with these little micro bites, build an audience of those micro bites, and then what's called retargeting Retarget the people who have consumed those microbytes. All right, hopefully this is making sense. And then after that, so you're sending more awesome stuff to them. You're not selling them anything. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all. And then after they have consumed those microbytes, now you can say, hey, listen, we're going to get into a little bit more in depth instead of a, say, 60-second to 5-minute video. Now we're going to get into, it's like we're going to do an hour-long like webinar or something to that effect. So you want to start thinking about doing it like that, which is why I am doing the scaleyourhustle.com/live. Join me on that webinar. I think you're going to get a ton of stuff out of it. It's not just me talking. I've actually worked with our graphics and design department to come up with, I'm going to be showing you the pictures of this. So it's almost like Egyptian level pictographs, cartouches, if you will. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. And one thing I asked the folks who had registered, I've gotten a lot of feedback from that already, is what are your biggest questions about what's going on right now? If you're in a position where, you know, things have gotten quite shaken up, the whole point of this is let me help you figure out where the opportunities are, so it's not just sort of terror and crazy and things like that. All right? So if you want, you can even leave those in said comments below. Take a quick look here and make sure we are still doing things. Excellent, excellent. Hope everyone's doing well, by the way. Where is this here? There. Awesome. All right. Let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, I love it when the phone doesn't work. Excellent. There we go. Oh, Chloe, what's up? So like I said, please, please, please toss your comments, your questions and comments. It looks like they're not coming through for whatever reason on the live stream. Not sure why, but that's okay. I'm going to check on one other spot. Hello and welcome. Good times indeed. All right. Perfect. So this is kind of a short little live stream. Yeah, tomorrow we are going to be going a lot deeper into a lot of this stuff. So yeah, jump on the live webinar. You can register at scaleyourhustle.com/live. Awesome. That's all I've got for now. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.